epidemic working its way through this country. An epidemic that is costing American companies millions of dollars each year, alienating their customers and frustrating their employees. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. The epidemic to which I'm referring is caused by ineffective problem solving. Symptoms that you see of this problem are recurring problems, things that are supposedly solved and then come back continuously over and over again to trouble us. Now, when I say problem, that may bring many things into your mind, so let me define what I'm talking about. A problem is simply a deviation from expected or desired performance. So if we're looking at measuring something we expect it to perform here, it's performing down here. The gap between the two is the deviation. We can find problems by asking two simple questions. First is, what's happening that shouldn't be? And the second is very similar. What isn't happening that should be? So tomorrow, when you return to your office and someone comes to you and says, I have a problem, you can feel free to say to them, well, what's the deviation? And when they look at you like you're nuts, or they look at you like you talk to me, you can say to them, well, tell me what's happening that shouldn't be. Tell me what isn't happening that should be. The answers to those questions will define the deviation for you, and that's where you can start your work. Now, problems have causes. Problems also have effects. We can take actions against the causes. Actions we take against the causes are known as corrective actions. They're intended to both identify and eliminate the root cause of the deviation that we're observing. Actions that we take against the effects are known as adaptive or interim actions. Those actions allow us to continue our work, oftentimes in a degraded state, while we look for the cause of the problem or decide not to. Now, I have a question for everyone in the room. Based on what I just said, who thinks that it is better to find the cause of a problem using corrective action than it is to deal with the effects of a problem using adaptive or interim action? Quick show of hands. Who's voting for corrective action? This is a lab. You can feel free to put your hands up. There won't be a critic. And how many would favor adaptive action? And I see most people didn't put their hands up, which is pretty normal in a group like this. Most of the people who put their hands up favor corrective action. And that makes me feel really good. The reason it does is because now I know if a fire breaks out in this room while I'm speaking tonight, most of you will stay out of my way as I adapt my behavior and leave. Because you'll stick around and find the cause of the problem, right? Now, that's a setup question, obviously. And I know that is not the behavior we would all manifest, and that's not how we've been trained. We would adapt our behavior and we would leave. The fire department would come, and they would use interim action to both contain and put out the fire. But I can assure you, by tomorrow, if not tonight, they would be here looking for cause. They look for cause to understand what happened so they can prevent it in the next building. So the real answer to my question to you was not one versus the other. The real answer is it depends, because every situation is different. Oftentimes, we will use an interim action before or while we're looking for the cause of a problem. In this case, we got out of here, and then the fire department comes in. So we're using both an adaptive and interim action and a corrective action. So we can use both. The concern I have is when companies fall into the practice of continually using adaptive action. They put a Band-Aid on a problem, and then it comes back and they put another Band-Aid on a problem. And they keep doing it. They get very good at putting Band-Aids on. But there's a cost to Band-Aids. that causes inefficiency, that causes poor customer service, and that causes frustration and lack of development of our employees. Now, if I was one of your customers and you made the move from adaptive actions to corrective actions, you might expect me to be very pleased, right? Because you've now taken a very mature step. But I can tell you, as your customer, or if I was your quality assurance manager, I would still be very upset with you. And the reason is very simple. No one has ever needed to find the cause of a problem until they experienced it. Well, Marshall, if I experienced a problem as your customer, I've felt pain. And quite frankly, I have enough pain in my life. I don't need you and your company bringing me more. So what's to do? The next step, and this is where I love working with companies to get it, you look at what might go wrong, but hasn't yet. Potential problems. Potential problems are things that might happen in the future. Similar to problems, potential problems have likely causes, and they have effects if they occur. We can take actions against the likely causes. Those actions are known as preventive actions. Preventive actions are designed to lower the probability that a potential problem will occur. We can also take actions against the effects of a potential problem. Those actions are known as contingent actions. Those are actions that are designed once the problem occurs. They're planned to kick in so we know what to do. For instance, the contingent action that we all take in a fire is an orderly exit. Because we hope it's early, that's how they taught me in grammar school. There's a trigger for that. It's usually a firewall. What I ask of you tonight is think about where you and your company are in terms of dealing with problems and make it a conscious decision to make the move. Toastmaster?